That is right. Top of the morning. Yes, it's Wednesday, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. We've got something good, spicy for you today. Stick with us. A good friend, great guest, even better, just man of thinking. Andrew Caprio with us today. Get yourself ready. I'm telling you, if you're not ready, you probably maybe need to go back to bed for a little bit and get yourself ready because it's going to be worth it. 53 seconds. Go get your cup of joe. Tell the kids to watch a show for a second because mommy and daddy need to do some learning in the morning. Getting ourselves ready. It's too much fun. Yeah, 30 seconds. That's right. That's right. Happy Wednesday to you, 7 a.m. Central Standard Time. Welcome to Winning in the Morning. I'm your coach, Kinsley Jordan. Couldn't be more excited to be with you. I couldn't be more jacked for what we have going on today because one of my great friends, you have friends that, some friends, they're there. And then there's those friends that just get you so jazzed in the morning. You could just storm hell with a water pistol if you want to, because that's who this guy is. Coming up, Andrew Caprio. I'm telling you, he's a rock star in everything that he does. Just so much experience, capability for thinking differently. I mean, he leads some major things in the Air Force, but most importantly, even more than that, even more impressive, more important than that, is, when you need a perspective shift and you need to think for a second of, maybe I shouldn't just keep on doing the same thing I've always done. This is your guy. It truly is. Without further ado, couldn't be more excited to have one with us today to encourage us to crush our goals, ignite our dreams, forge a legacy in our lives. Right here, yours truly, Andrew Caprio, the man, the myth, the legend. Bro Chacho, welcome.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It is. Wednesday's my favorite day of the week, and I think it's a ridiculous thing to say, but it really, truly is. Favorite day to go out and get dinner, favorite day to go to explore the city, favorite day to hang out with people. I don't know. I love Wednesdays. I really, really do. I'm not saying it.
I do too. It's like a downhill coast of oh yeah, I see Friday. I see Friday on the horizon. And at this point, it's we've started getting we're midway through the week. We started getting things done. You know what I mean? Maybe Monday is getting our mind around things, kind of pulling ourselves together. Wednesday by now, we're full motion drive. Adrenaline is pumping. Mindset is engaged. Gosh, we're just getting after it. It's so incredibly good. Cap, people, I know they don't know you like I know you, but they Oh, I didn't even change camera. Dang it! That terrible transition. You can't. If you're gonna do that, you gotta change it. There you go. Okay, that's a little bit better. A little bit better. But if you don't mind, man, listen. You've been in the Air Force for a long while. You've had exciting things, a new transition, getting ready to start. But your experience, even just in the Air Force, working in the maintenance world, but most importantly, to me, is just a mindset that you have of some of the things you developed of helping people to be able to solve their own problems. Man, would you just give us a rundown, if you don't mind, of just
let's go for it.
That
why
awesomeness.
not? We'll kind of see how it is. I've been told, I think when I first joined the Air Force, I was the luckiest guy in the Air Force. Didn't realize it, didn't know what was going on. But I came in as a maintainer, enlisted member. I worked on aerospace ground equipment. So it's really big, heavy equipment, generators, different type of mobility units, just weird stuff, right? But the thing I had in the back of my mind, I never let anybody bless me with an opportunity. I try to always make sure every day I got after it. If somebody told me to sweep a pile of rocks, I'd sweep the biggest pile of rocks out there. And the next day, man, this guy really knows about rocks. So then I'd have to run a group of people, and I'd have a team of people sweeping rocks. So just things like that. You always take the little things mean big. That's just the best way I can put around it. It's super simple, but anything I would go, I would kind of give it my all and then and push to always strive for more. So throughout the career, I broke out from the mundane of the machine and the maintenance culture, and I got into education, I got into strategy. From there, I had some really unique opportunities where just a little airman working on the line. You can look up. I got some weird pictures on there, with the coveralls and the sleeves cut off, and I'm out there in the desert, like doing my thing. I thought that was the life, and then I discovered academics and strategy and the biggest side of the Air Force, and got to explore on some nuclear submarines. I worked on some really amazing equipment like that. I got to work in F-22 world, developing equipment and bringing it forward to my career field.
Wow.
And then as of late, got to work with you, right? Take that large leap, work forward, and continue that thing, continue that mindset of I'm going to sweep the biggest pile of rocks. So now making that awesome transition. And I'm going to join you, Trigger, as an aviator and go through the fight. And I'm going to try and go after helicopters and see how it goes. Peel away from the normal job for a little bit, really invest in myself, try and take that time and continue to grow, continue to push, and still not letting anybody waiting in the corner and waiting for somebody to bless me. I'm going out forward and making them tell me no and forcing them to give me the hard answer and the hard vector because I'm not going to sit here idle. I'm going to continue to push and continue to strive.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's kind of me. We've talked about it a bunch. I think if somebody tells you you can't do something, you go, okay, well, let's figure out why it's right like that. We're going to do it anyway, but then we'll figure out why it's like that. And I'm going to push forward and make sure others can do what we are confident, right? I
Yeah.
really believe that I have acquired enough skills in my life that I leverage to take on every single risk of like, what are we going to do? What are we going to be a part of? From my favorite hobby is ripping apart old school cars, and I don't know anything about it. My dad had a roll of duct tape and a rock. He didn't actually have a hammer. He had a really cool rock that he liked.
Yeah.
So going from that to now just going after anything, I always think that in my head. I was like, well, man, if he made it with a roll of duct tape and a rock, I could probably do a little bit better. So it's like,
Oh my gosh, man. That's a
so that's it. I keep pushing, man. Whatever I got, whatever you need. Individuals like yourself, like we challenge each other, and I love it, and I love being a part of it, and
yeah.
the thought and the mindset, and that's kind of me. Keep
Yeah.
going, humble beginnings. To now, we'll try and do something, be something better than I am today.
Yeah. 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 Man, that's uh that this is why you understand why I love talking to Cap. Is because every time you
Cool.
talk to him, you're like, man, I guess I'm talking about you to yourself, third person. That whatever.
No,
It's
we
one
got
side.
there's three people out there.
Yeah,
Hey,
there's,
what's up? How you doing?
there's, there, when you think about that continual drive of what, like I know, even though I may not know exactly what to do in this situation, or you're stepping into a new situation, there's something intrinsically that drives you, and not even just you, but that intrinsic value of saying, I know what I'm capable of. Like some people immediately have that. Yeah, sometimes it's construed as people say, well, that's just they're cocky in their ability. There is a difference between being cocky and confident, but there
Yes.
is something to be said. I mean, there's a lot to be said for knowing your value and knowing your abilities, even though you may be in a new situation that you've never seen before, never been around before. There's a lot to be said for having confidence in a situation, and this is one of the things that you do often. I mean, you basically started for the ground up out of a concept. This course called Design Warfare that we
Yeah.
teach across the Air Force, but it helps people to think differently. And why is that thinking differently so important? Because you would think that would be kind of standard in the military, but even just outside of the military, outside in just general commercial industry, whatever your job is, wherever
Yeah.
you're watching from, why is that thinking differently so important? And why is that something that is so uncommon?
I I have to go to one of my favorite like quotes from an old mentor of mine is that it's simply critical thinking with creative execution, and that aspect of taking the time and looking at the world from a different perspective. Maybe taking a breath might be just the simple tool of it. Day in day out we're bombarded with information, right? We're connected but we're not connected. we have
Yeah.
we have streams, we have news, we have the running media bar at the bottom, our phones going off with alerts. We have so many different things coming inside, but when you take a second and sit there and be like, well, do I actually need this? Can I go upstream a little bit from here and find out what's going on? That aspect of just thinking a little bit differently, or applying more of a design approach, or taking a second to figure out the pieces at play. What unapologetically, one of the things that I think I would do better than anybody else my wife and I talked about this, is that ability to understand a network and a system. It's one of my favorite things. It might go from engineering and mechanics to now human aspects to organization growth and building and changing organizations that are as large as the Air Force,
Yeah.
is because that piece of how important every single person is, right? I don't know why, but today might be the story of rocks. So we go back to the rocks, right? Like we're literally building the biggest pile of rocks, and some of those rocks are a little bit better than others, right? We've never had a discussion about rocks before. This is the first day for me.
I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. It's good.
It's collecting those. Some have like really nice grooves. Some are made of granite. Some have our marble, right?
Yeah.
And it's that ability to sit there and peel back. That I'm not just looking at the ground. I'm not looking at dirt, but I might be looking at some really amazing minerals. People have their own talents. They have their own things, and a lot of the times there's a system at play. Our rules, our constructs that are there. And nobody takes the time to understand where they came from. Something I learned from you, Trigger, is the fact that we get stuck in that and we forget where this stuff came from.
Yeah.
And we never take the time to understand. When I was younger,
Yeah.
I was told that I need to get into history because I would never do anything in my life if I didn't learn anything about history, because then I would just be repeating the same things that happened, right?
Yeah.
Fortunately, I never got into history, right? I barely ever read it. I'm not really, American history is pretty cool to me, but that's kind of about as far as I go. Industrial Revolution.
Yeah.
But when it comes to the Air Force history and when it comes to what we're doing and then other certain organizations, the first thing I come in if I'm coaching an organization or being part of a startup is, where did you start? How did you get there? What were the main factors? Who were the archetypes that started it, right? Because you need to know where they came from to know where they want to go. And that's just a little bit of thinking differently. I'm never going to accept the world around me for what it is, because I think we can have a change at play, right? So maybe that's it. Maybe that's it right there. Simply not accepting what's going on or what's around you as the rule or the constant. So I joke around. Trigger might know this. You all out there might not know, but I always say time's not real. It's all relative. It's all perspective. So just because the rules today are there doesn't mean there'll be the rules tomorrow. And I don't want to be the same person tomorrow. And that's the driving factor. I love it.
Dude,
I love Wednesday.
That is, and I love Wednesday. And I love Wednesday. I feel, you know what? Okay, hold on.
I really do. I'm not like, that's not a plug. I'm
going to
really
join you with a coffee
Wednesday.
cup. I'm going to join you with a coffee cup because I feel so wrong having it. Is there anything in it? No, there's nothing in the coffee cup, but I'm just going to go join it because I feel like I'm missing out on something. Maybe I should put something in. Here, I'll put something in the coffee cup. But I'm with you, man. I do that mindset of knowing your value. And what does that look? I'm literally pouring my pre-workout into my coffee cup so I don't feel so.
We're about to turn it up. Like, I don't know how crazy you want to get on this, but you all need it.
It's getting serious. But think about that. For so many times when you think about it, a lot of people go to college. I mean, there's a lot of things, important things about knowing your value, and it's not just something that is like a trite nicety that is like, oh yeah, that's a cute idea, Kinsley. I'm saying, here it is in a nutshell. So many of us have forged paths, or not even forged paths. We've been told, hey, that path is probably a good path for you. So we look at the path, and we're like, oh, okay, I guess. I mean,
I guess you don't know any better.
I don't have any better idea. And then we start going down the path. And then you start walking down the path, and then other people who are walking that same path, whether it's college, whether it's whatever your degree is, whether it's whatever you were told, hey, you should go into this job. Then other people on the path are like, hey, welcome to the path. You should stay on this path because this is a really good path. And if you want to stay on this path, if you want to keep walking, then you should start caring about this because this is what the people on this path care about. And then you look at it and you're like, oh, I guess I need to start caring about promotion, and maybe I guess I need to start caring about what it looks like to be.
Maybe I need to work longer hours, get more accounts. Or maybe I need to come up with a new marketing plan. That's what they did. That's what got them there. There's a lot of people on this path. Maybe I need to do something to be able to stick out. And then slowly, it's this insidious slipping into losing yourself and gaining what the system that you're part of tells you that you should care about. Yeah.
It is this insidious falling into this trap of starting to care and mold yourself. And this is the same thing happens with relationships. It happens with jobs. It happens with situations with kids. I mean, it happens with working out. It happens with your finances. That it is this unintentional, insidious, just slow slipping away and changing and shifting of things that suddenly 5 years later you find yourself in a spot where it's like, dude, how did I even get here? Like, what am I
Oh
even
yeah.
doing here? And this is why I say this is so crazy important to be able to talk about and to bring this up, is because if you are allowing someone else, if you're allowing another system, if you're allowing either your job, or you're allowing a situation, or you're allowing some other entity to tell you what your value is, then you are completely in the wrong place. Now, what I'm not saying is that you're always in the wrong place if you're in a job and they're telling you how to be able to excel in the job. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is, if you have never taken the time to think differently and ask yourself these hard questions, Cap, like you talk about, like you like, I mean, you talk about this all the time. I'm on the camera. I'm looking at you.
That's
Literally
nice.
going, like that.
Isn't that
Like,
right?
this is what you talk about all the time. Is if you never ask these hard questions, you'll never find out the real answer. And it's getting to the root cause. I'll say it again. If you never ask the hard questions, you're never going to get to the real answer of what is actually going on. And Cap,
Can we take a second right there?
Please.
And to have that's a moment of awareness, and we need to be there and just. It's like a weight off your shoulders when you realize, like, you can take a second and you can identify that. That's it, Trigger. Keep going. Keep hitting it, Kinsley. I want to hear it.
There are so many people that I talk to. Literally talked to somebody yesterday. Again, this very same thing, that they were concerned about, this thing. Yeah, I gotta get this ready for work, and I'm not exactly sure what's gonna happen. And just ask the simple question: who cares? And for a second, they were like, I think they thought I was being rude in asking that and saying, like, why are you telling me I don't care about it? And that's not what I was saying. I said, who cares about that like you do? They're like, well, I mean, the job, this is something big going on at work. I said, okay, but who cares about that? Do you care because they care, or do you care because this is something that only you can do and you're excited about it? It was just, for a second, it was like this blank stare of, I don't know, what is this guy smoking weed right now? Is he completely on crack? Like, what does that even mean? But as we kept on having the discussion, kind of peeling this back, it was the question of, the reason why you care so much is because you've been told this is what you should care about.
Absolutely.
But how much time do we spend doing the things that only we can do? How much time do we spend focusing on the things that innately that we are created, like the gifts and talents and skills and anointings and the mindset that we have been that have been put into us, admittedly not by ourselves. I didn't birth myself. It's not like I willed myself into existence. Regardless of what your faith is, people know my faith. I'm a believer in Christ. Period. I have no shame about it. I could care less what people think about my faith. But it doesn't change the fact that if we didn't will ourselves into existence, and we didn't just think, I'm going to create myself, then that means that these gifts, talents, skills, abilities, anointings that you have innately were brought to you or put into you from a creator, and that those giftings you have are innate to you. So the question that I have most of the time that a lot of times gets derailed is, if you have things that you are good at that maybe nobody else is good at, or things that you have a perspective on that nobody else has a perspective on, that you bring to the world and you bring to the situation, that passion that you have, why do we spend all of our time trying to focus on somebody else's gifts and skills and trying to be just like them, and ignoring the things that have been innately put into us, intended for us to be able to use it? We focus on what everybody else has and trying to fit into a system, and what the system tells us or what the job tells us. But how much time do we actually spend looking intrinsically to ourselves and saying, you know what, like, I understand the system values that, but what is it that I value, and what is it that I'm doing, the gifts that I have been given, and how am I using these on a daily basis? And the reason why I ask that is because out of your day of 24 hours, how much time do you spend doing the things that only you can do?
Ooh, I love it. I absolutely love it. I'm not sure on how far time check today you wanted to go, but that is very powerful stuff.
Go.
And that's stuff that individuals need to understand. It's what the act of mindfulness, and you go out there and they fill your cup up, right? Or you talk about love tanks and different things like that. Like, it'll fill you up, and it makes you feel like you have a passion. I've had a long-term belief that when life gets mixed with work too much, and you do fall into that groove, and now work becomes life, and work is those things, and you try and power those things forward, and you're putting everything you have into this, but it's hard for you to take that step back and realize, well, nobody cares about this like I do, or nobody has the passion for it because they're not working it. But that's when you start to blur the lines between, well, now work is bad, or the index is down, or last quarter was terrible. So all of a sudden, now my life is bad. My life is terrible. And you don't make that bifurcation between the two aspects, which I don't understand. You can run so many things outside and do other passions on the side and make that break and turn work off at the end of the day. Because Trigger, you said it the best. It's who honestly is worried at the end of the day. Is it life, limb? Can you truly get fired if you don't have this? And even if you do get fired, like what are those weighing options that you have there? And have you had those hard talks? Have you looked inside? Have you asked for that hard feedback, that critical feedback? Do you exist in a community of candor where you can even talk about it openly? Or do you bring it up and get emotionally charged and you defend and you dig your heels and you fight it harder and you fight the change and you fight what's going on because maybe something inside of you doesn't want to be there? I think a lot of us get into that. We think that there's a path, there's the American dream, and there's a way that you're supposed to have and the way you're supposed to move that forward. And maybe we lost it at a certain point. What is good for you and your family versus what is good for work? And is there too much of a mix? Because look, today I'm on a live stream with you in my house. So this is stuff that's bringing into there. So maybe those lines have gotten blurred because we've allowed them to.
Yeah.
We've separated. Kinsley and I work with an individual, and one of the cool things that they do, unnecessary, they carry 2 cell phones. And I was like, why would you? Of course, I walk up and I'm like, why would you carry 2 cell phones? It's absolutely ridiculous. Don't do that. And he looked and he goes, well, no, when I'm done with work, I take this one that has all the work stuff on it and I put it in a drawer and I don't do anything with it. And I leave it away. And I'm like, wait.
Oh.
And he goes, and he saw in my eyes, he's like, yeah, because then I can physically put work away and focus on my family and focus on my kids. And I was like, that's brilliant.
Yeah.
That's like, carrying 2 phones is a pain in the butt, but that is the recharging and refocusing and giving yourself that freedom to break away. I was like, oh, I need another phone just so I can do that. That's a big step. I'm just saying, but that made me go. It made me gasp. I was really, really into it. And that's an awareness, being awareness of yourself, asking a hard question. Who cares if he doesn't answer his phone at 10 o'clock at night? Is something going to happen? No, nothing's going to happen.
Right. It's the intentionality of it. Like when you look at when you look at it, it's the intentionality of saying I am intentionally, and this is what we get down to. I mean, this is really what it drives down to for me. It is intentionally and not passively and not accidentally allowing growth to happen in our lives, and intentionally saying I'm going to create these barriers. I'm going to focus this amount of time on work, but when I'm done with work, I'm going to focus here. This is something that, because I love what I do, and literally every capacity, because this mindset of helping people, connecting people to their passion for their purpose is what I get to do in my day job. For the military, it's what I get to do in my life job. It's what I get to do in my different businesses. Like it's the same thread all the way through my life. So for me, sometimes it's very hard to shut it off because I'm like, yes, we're helping people. Well, like we're encouraging them to believe in themselves.
Yes.
Getting them to see what God put in them. It's just like this nonstop, just thread that keeps on going through every aspect of it. However, that can very insidiously, and this is how I knew it last night. Last night we had a group that I was part of that went and it was discussion, and I got a text from my wife. And it was like at 8:30, and the group normally goes till 8:30. It was like 8:35, and she said, "Hey, are you going to be coming in out of my office? Are you going to be coming in anytime soon? It'd be great to talk." And it's just like meaning catch up. Like there's nothing bad. And at that moment, I was like, "Yep, things need to go off the calendar. I should not be." We had a little family time earlier, but I should not still be focusing on this at 8:30. She has to send the text as a reminder. I've already allowed something else to be able to slip in. But again, this is the intentionality of saying, I'm not going to accidentally bumble my way through life. I'm going to intentionally say, I'm going to identify the things that are important to me, my priorities. And my priorities are going to be set by what are the things that only I can do. My kids only have one dad. My wife only has one husband. I know that for a fact. I know that. People are like, oh, how do you know that? Like, shut up. I know.
We have access.
We see everything. So my wife only has, my kids have one father. My wife has one husband. My friends that allow me to be in their circle has only one Kinsley that is, that has one person that's there. But when you look at those things and say, uh, one, what are the gifts that I've been given? And two, what are the things that only I can do? My question to you today, on this Wednesday, on this mighty Wednesday, is how much time today are you going to spend on the things that only you can do? If you run a business and you're the head, you're the CEO, you're the founder, okay, there are things that only you can do. Casting the vision, encouraging people, bringing them up. But the question that I'd say is, if you're spending time fixing the copier when you have 5 other people around you that are able to do it, and it's detracting you from doing the thing that only you should be doing, then why are you doing it? Clearly, it's because, I mean, it's potentially because you didn't ask, you didn't delegate, you didn't let that be known. But this is the thing I'm talking about. How do we prioritize that? How do we communicate that to people in our lives?
Build trust. And trust comes from allowing them to take something off your plate.
Wow.
I trust that different aspects. What can I do best? I trust. And I trust openly. I trust wholeheartedly. I have a thing I say I'm a 2-strike guy. I'm not. I am absolutely not. I trust to no end. I will give you everything. I will give you my fullest, whether it's where I work, what I work on the side, my own actions, hobbies, mentees, my family, my wife. I trust with every aspect of my body.
Yeah.
And that allows to put trust into what they're going to build, what they're going to have. If you break that trust, my wife knows this. She's something that she's tried to work very hard. And let's go back to the thing you said earlier, right? The fact that you and your wife have that ability to have that open conversation, and she can say those things to you. You do not defend. You do not dig your heels. You go, oh, this is an awareness point. I need to be
Yeah.
aware. Same thing. My wife and I, Kelsey Caprio, we've built very strong foundations of communications because of that, and we need to have those conversations. But I
Yeah.
trust her to no end. She's trying to help me, and I implore you out there, if you're taking too much on, you're allowing them, try and find out how you can put more trust into your life. How do you move at the speed of trust? How do you build that meritocracy around you?
Oof.
How do you let those individuals take some of those things off your plate? And then when they fail, understand they're not failing maliciously to attack you. Are they failing because they don't understand what's going on? Today, I tell you, what do I do unapologetically? I trust, and I trust hard, and I trust with everything I have, which I think is why when that trust gets broken, I shut it out and I turn them off. Something I've worked on very hard to not trust so hard, not trust so much, not give it everything, so that when it fails or when they do something maliciously, I don't initially go to a turn off. So please trust, please try and trust, and please delegate through trust. I told you I got a big pile of rocks, all right? That's
Dude,
all through trust.
that's amazing. Move at the speed of trust. That inside itself, I think we've talked about it. I'm sure people have heard me say this before, but for me, it was incredibly profound to realize this,
Mm-hmm.
is that so many times we want to do not what is right there. What's listed right there. We don't want to. Oh, I
Yeah.
can't reach into your screen, unfortunately. We want to move faster than the relationships and the influence that we have built, and we want to be able to create. We want to be able to reach outside of our scope of what our influence is. But influence is equal to the amount of time you have spent building a relationship. You have influence in that life, and that can be good or bad. You can have negative influence. You can have positive influence.
Absolutely.
If you don't have the type of relationship times the amount of time. Well, when you look at relationship, to me, it's made up of 2 things: is consistency and the transparency.
Mm.
If you are transparent and if you communicate and there's no hidden agenda, like you're truly communicating for the sake of the heart of what it is that you're trying to build between that person, and you are consistent at it, not just there's a difference between consistency and time. If you're consistent, consistency is the frequency. Meaning, sometimes consistency, there's some people that I check in on once a month, and
Yeah.
that's just what our relationship is. But the funny thing is, if it's not once a month, and it's like a month and a half, I'll get a message, and they'll be like, "Hey man, just checking on you, like everything good?
Yeah, what's
Just
going
wanted."
on?
Even though the consistency is once a month, there's still an accountability and there's an influence in each other's lives to say, "Hey, just wanted to check on you, like how are things going on?"
But
It
let me
doesn't.
let me let me jump in right there. That's a point of, it's because of how present you are, and it's what you bring to a conversation. You are always present. You're there. You're in the moment. You're not looking for other things. You're not looking for other aspects. You're not checking your watch or checking your phone. Like you are very amazing at that. I try and be just like that when we come to conversations and we have individuals out of there. You have those 2 aspects, and as long as you're present, it doesn't matter that like we might have not talked in a month, or I have friends who will reach out and talk every 6 months. It's because The time is there, and I'm present with them. No matter
Yeah.
what the medium is between us, I'm present with you right now.
Yeah.
And that's what makes it feel more. That's what makes it feel like, oh, we can catch back up and whatever.
Yeah.
Time is relative, right?
Yeah.
It's as long as I'm present, I'm here. This moment lives with me, and I trust that it will live with me, and that's the part of it. I love that,
Dude. As you were saying that, something jumped out to me is how present are you with yourself and your value? Because we've been talking about value and skill and doing the things that only you can do. And
Yes.
the reason why I think, honestly, Cap, people hate asking, not that they hate, but I think the reason why we don't do this ourselves, one, is because
scary.
nobody's taught us to, and two, it's scary. Like, you don't want to ask a question that you already know the answer to, that you don't like.
Yeah.
There's sometimes
Talk about things that we do well and things that we do bad, right? Like I trust too much. Like, I know that's terrible. If I look presently where I'm at, I could spend more time at home. Already made some plans. We're going to do some more stuff together. And it's those things. I always have those ebbs and flows of all of it. And they're hard questions. They really are. You look at yourself right now, things I'm uncomfortable with, got to prep, got to move, and you focus and you change. They should be fluidic.
Yeah.
They should move with life. Life is hard. I'm sorry, everybody out there. Secrets out.
No,
life's hard.
No, it's not.
Life's hard. All right.
I don't believe it. No, say it's not so. I don't believe it. Dude, it's in that process of realizing there are things in life that are very hard. To me, it has only got more difficult when I've not addressed myself, when I've not addressed the things that are actually the issues that are really the things that are really causing me troubles, or the things that are really frustrating me. For the longest time, like if Brooke and I had an argument or something like that, I'd say, okay, yeah, I'd just kind of like apologize and move on. She's like, no, like we need to talk about this. You need to talk about this. Like
you and I being operators.
Yeah,
like, yes,
dude.
Got it. Checks. Next action. Okay. Yep.
Here,
all right, let's go.
all right, here we go. Yep. I'll apologize. She's like, no, I'm not asking you to apologize. I'm saying, what is the deal? Like, help me understand what's going on. But I would just kind of accept and move on. I'd say, okay, well, I need to change it. Like, clearly that upset you, and I'm gonna do that. But I would never take that time to ask the question, because the reality was, it gets messy and it gets ugly and it gets not fun. And then if you actually start asking these questions of, okay, why did that upset me? Then the next question most of the time is, well, it upset me because you didn't meet this expectation. And then the reality is, I didn't know that was your expectation because you never told me that. And then it's the realization of, God, I didn't communicate that. Like, how is she supposed to live up to something that is hidden away in my head that I've never communicated?
Yes. Oh,
this isn't even just between two people. This is between yourself. If you don't spend the time asking yourself these questions of, what is it that I'm good at that no one else is good at? What is the passion that has been placed in my heart? What is the skill that I have been given? If we all have a different fingerprint, outside of cloning something perfectly down to the DNA, if we all have different DNA and we all have a different fingerprint, why is it that you would actually believe that somebody else has the exact same skills, mindset, and ability that you have? That is asinine. It doesn't make any sense. Science, it doesn't even align with science. We are all intricately different people. Even identical twins have a different mindset, have a different soul about them. It's not the same carbon copy. It's not like they move in mirror. They may look the same. They may have the same genetic makeup and look almost identical, but they have different mindsets about it. That's the difference between a soul of who you are. You can have one identical twin that loves doing this, and another identical twin that is completely opposite, and they may look the same, but they're different people. They're not the same people. The question to me, Cap, is as we go through this week, will we be bold enough to take the step to ask the question, how is it that I am different? And what am I going to do about it? What am I going to do about it? I'll leave it over to you for closing thoughts, closing comments. Listen, they already got 6 more minutes of us than they normally do, man. It's too good. Woo! It's good.
I'm ready to tear up a Wednesday. I'm ready to tear it up right now.
Dude, so, closing thoughts. You got it, man. It's over to you.
Start the morning. Get after it. Go after your dreams. Set your goals and expectations. Be present with yourself. Move with trust and understand that you can get there. Be realistic about it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Now go sweep some rocks.
Yeah. Wait, what was the last part? What rocks?
Go sweep your rocks, all
Go
right?
sweep your rocks. That's right. That's right. Listen, y'all, you have a great, blessed Wednesday for real. Listen, God has given you talent, skills, abilities. Use them. Start believing in yourself. The world needs you to believe in you. The world needs you to recognize the skills that you have. So get started recognizing it and get started moving with it, because we need you. The people around you need you. Don't hesitate anymore. Right here.
We believe in you.
We believe
Right
in you.
here. We believe in you.
We believe in you.
No!
Winning. Hey, listen, y'all. We'll see you. You have a blessed week. We will see you Friday right back here. Winning in the morning. Yours truly, Kinsley Jordan, Andrew Caprio, right here, the Winning Network. We'll see y'all.